A startup is not a smaller version of large companies, but is a temporary organization. It can be a new venture, or it may be a new division or business unit in an existing company. The primary objective of a startup is to validate its hypothesis, continuing to iterate and pivot until it finds one business model that is repeatable and scalable. Startups have usually more than 2 founders and many shareholders. Their initial development involves loss and high costs. There's a need for an ecosystem that helps companies to take off. There's a need for a healthy venture capital community so that the ecosystem can thrive. It has to be attractive for VCs and angel investors who are expert at analyzing industries and identifying new profitable opportunities. Even though it has a lot of entrepreneurs, Berlin still lacks a formal venture capital structure. Most of the money for the city's promising startups comes from outside investors. The other issue Berlin needs to overcome is that of scale and international growth. Silicon Valley startups have 2 advantages: the domestic US market that has enough early adopters willing to try new internet services. This gets the attention of tech media, which in turn allows companies to get more people signing up for their products. That sets off a chain reaction and gets companies' global attention. A company based in Berlin doesn't have the large domestic user base needed to get similar attention. That makes it difficult for companies to cross the borders.
Nobody in our generation has to work for a company. We're not brought up the way of my father and my grandfather all worked for this company, so I have to now too. We have free choice. So make your company something special where people want to stay.
Try to create circumstances where people can really perform and be really good at what they do.
The ideas always come from the team and never from the management. So it's not that we sit there, Moritz and I, and say, okay, the next app is going to be children's songs. You do it. It's always a matter of, we have an innovation day every 2 months where we let all the employees come up with ideas and concepts of what they think is great.
To be open and to be kind of lean and to be adjustable, because things will change and things will change a lot, and it's important that you, as not only as a person but also as a company, can adapt your vision and kind of adapt your company and adapt your product into something that people actually want to use. So it might not be the thing that you've thought out from the beginning, but that's less relevant. It's more relevant that you kind of figure out what people actually want and go and build that.
Really ask yourself, if I would take this product away tomorrow, obviously not every product changes the world, but if nobody misses it, then that's too little to be successful.
Working on a business, you always have to do things you don't like, but you do it because it's necessary.
Persistence. Nothing will work out the way you think it will work out. This goes for fundraising, this goes for products, this goes for users. Like everything will be upside down, and you just have to keep on working and keep on pushing your agenda and what you want to create.
When the users come back and say we'd like to have this or that, then we hand in the next update. So we get a lot of our knowledge from the people themselves. We don't try to estimate or to think what they might think, we rather ask them.
Since you're here now, the only thing that could be better is if you were 5 years younger. So stop kind of thinking around and just go create a company as soon as you can. Because the earlier that you start building stuff and make mistakes, the faster you learn and the more fun you'll have sooner. Yeah.
Not setting yourself boundaries to what is possible.
Just jump in and you just start doing something, and then if it's not correct or if you did something wrong, you just go back and do it again. So you don't wait for anybody to tell you what you have to do.
Thinking every possible way and choosing the best, although it might seem completely absurd to the point in the point in time where you take the decision.
If you build a good enough product, people will eventually find it in the mass of things that are out there, which is why I love working with technology, especially in the web.
And I think that's something that moved me through all my working life. If you want to, like when I very much started doing art, studying sociology, getting into media art, into media activism, was always the need, I would say. It's not that much the wish, but really like the need to want to change something in the society. And I was always looking for means to get a point where you kind of can squeeze in and just get a change.
You can either have a very good idea and you'll find good investors, or you can be a very entrepreneurial person and pitch yourself to existing ideas or investors. I truly believe if you want to start up something and you're passionate and you're willing to work and you have a vision of where you want to go, then that is worth more than every idea in the world. So I am very much, I very much believe it's about the people, and they will drive ideas to success. It's not about great ideas and having just random people doing it. I don't think an idea can be that great that it actually manages to be successful with average people. And with average, I mean you really have to have a long-term view. There's no short-term rewards to founding. It's always in the press, or when you look at successful entrepreneurs, you always think it's this millionaire overnight thing, and it's this very quick way to success. It's not. And I think that's what makes people successful, if they really have a 3 or 5 year plan and not a 3 or 5 month plan. Just adds more value to the companies.
I really believe that out of a product, 99% is kind of the execution, and 1% is the idea that you first had.
You can either have the people coming directly from the universities with a little experience, they have to develop a lot personality-wise, because they've never learned how to lead people. They're just doing learning by doing, which is nothing bad, but where I think you really have to also invest time into yourself. It doesn't come naturally. And then there are those people who already have had a career or have had some work experience, who then join, like me, a startup. For them, it's not so much the personal development there, it's getting used to the mechanics of the startup scene. Because I really think you can break companies in the internet industry or in the startup world by behaving too corporate. And many with job experience might bring in the wrong things into startups, which actually doesn't make them more successful, but kind of kills the spirit.
We were corporate guys. We came from large corporations, and also in our mindset we were corporate guys. So we had to learn a completely new thinking and a completely new system, which is startup thinking. And also internet. We were not internet guys at the beginning. We had to learn internet business models and the drivers within the internet industry.
Startups need structures and organizational structure and processes, and corporates also need a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, but it's like the extremes put together. And I think what startups need is people that are not very pretentious about themselves, which just throw themselves in there, which don't build huge hierarchies and communication ways, but just talk to each other. I think you have to be a bit more laid back, relaxed, not taking yourself too seriously to be able to be successful in a startup.
We had this feeling that all the entrepreneurs had left the European continent like 200, 300 years ago and moved west, because these are the people who, said, hey, come on, let's take some land in the United States and start a farm. Basically, that's entrepreneurial thinking, and these were the people and the genes that left that continent that didn't have anything to lose. And the gene pool that stayed here was, conservative. They had their money, they had their home, they had their, position. So I think there's a cultural heritage attached to it. Why there's a lot of entrepreneurship in the United States, because these were risk-taking people who said, yeah, I'm taking the risk going to a land I've never seen before and starting a farm there with some sheep and some cattle. And here, it was like the butcher said, my butchery is working well, I shouldn't leave. And I think this mentality you can still smell today. And that's one of the reasons why new ideas and truly entrepreneurial ideas have problems in Central Europe.